every once in a while, I will just like press the drill down until the screw threads.
Yeah.
You put in like 20 screws, right? Works. And then you get one that must hit like a knot or like a piece of metal on the other side of the thing. And you just like, it strips once, but then you're just like.
Definition of insanity.
I'm just going to push harder. And it's like.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And you just completely strip the screw.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck.
Okay, so let's record the intro now.
So what did milkless? Because I think we start with the name.
Two dads, we love our kids, but then we also need them to know that we're like pretty cool and it's not like a wimpy podcast. So, hey, hey, milkless.
Hey, welcome. Hey,
milkless. Call the audience, milkless. What's up, milkless? Matt and Max coming at you.
What if that's it? That's our first take.
All right, Matt, welcome back. We are live via satellite. I got something for you. I got something going on we're 2 or 3 weeks in at this point. Would love to get your take on it. You want to help unpack something for me and the listeners here?
Yeah, this just sounds like current events.
It's current. So my wife and I went to a 40th birthday party in Mexico. My parents came to watch our kids. We were gone for like 3 days. It was totally fine. When we came back, our 4-year-old, who was probably the easiest child to go to sleep, was having longer bedtimes, difficulty going to sleep, really clingy, didn't want me to leave, and then also climbed into our bed every night until this morning. Was the first.
Wow.
It was the first time I've had a full night's sleep without, and I'm, as you know, I'm the night person. Mm-hmm. So it was 3 weeks. Hopefully tonight was not the anomaly and we're back to normal. But it's tough when that happens because, especially with third child, what we did with our first child was somewhat militant. If the child got out, obviously kind and nice, but there were kind of no exceptions. It's like, oh, okay, bud, I'll bring him downstairs. Second child, bring him downstairs. Like if they had a nightmare, then I would like fuck my sleep and just like basically do another bedtime at 2 a.m, mm-hmm. kind of put them back to bed in their bed. And that kind of like trained them. So, but now, I don't know, third child, we're just kind of tired. She just like crawl into the bed and just, yeah, whatever. And then, she's like, does this weird like sniffling tick.
Oh yeah. Kids suck at sleeping.
So we didn't really sleep.
Weird. Yeah.
We didn't really. So I don't know. I think I'd love to talk about just like different phases that happen, not phases, sleep regressions, things that happen mm-hmm. where you get off track. And at some point it can feel like we're completely fucked.
Yeah.
We've lost the sleep thing. We had the sleep thing. We've lost the sleep thing.
Yeah. We've lost the nap thing with my 2-year-old currently. It's just like, she won't do it. Now you got to drive her somewhere, but then she wakes up in 20 minutes. Then she's an asshole in the evening. It's like, and it's like, what happened? When did we lose the sleep thing?
Put her down for a nap.
Cannot.
But so, yeah, I mean, it's, now that I'm on the other side, I mean, if we had done this and it was still happening, I probably would have been lamenting about how will it ever go back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's sleep is one of the starkest examples of like, this too shall pass. Like when it's good, don't get too comfortable because it'll change. When it's fucked and they're calling into your bed every night, don't get too worried because it'll change. But it can really play hell on your life when suddenly a kid stops napping for a while we've found at our house that you can kind of run yourself in circles trying to figure out what's going on. And sometimes it's as simple as like you left town for a weekend. Sometimes it's like you measure them at the end of that month of like crazy sleep and, they grew 1.25 inches in a month. So they were just
right. Or while we were gone in Mexico, my parents showed her and the older boys E.T., which, it's not nothing.
We had to turn off E.T. with our then 6-year-old. It's just creeped her out.
4-year-old seeing the E.T. and she had a mm-hmm. nightmare that E.T. was in her room, probably from the scene where E.T.'s mixed in with the stuffed animals, like laying there, like just there.
Yeah. That movie is also just shot. It's a very good-hearted movie, and E.T. is a good guy, but Steven Spielberg is a master of suspense. So it's shot in ways that feel anxious.
Right.
I remember I was surprised by how much it spooked my daughter because it's not a scary movie, but it's just shot by a professional filmmaker who knows how to mess with your feelings.
Yeah, like Jaws, apparently, it's so scary the first half. I don't think you see the shark. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
why is that so scary?
Yeah, because Spielberg's got game. Yeah.
Yeah. But so she had a dream the first night we came back, and she's like, I had a dream E.T. was over there with his jelly eyes. And so, yeah, it can be any number of things. I think just to kind of do a post-game analysis for any parents who are going through some sort of a sleep regression or an issue where you're just like, my kid's rotten, we're
fucked. We're all fucked. We'll never sleep again.
Yeah. Well, before I give that away, I'll give it a little sidebar. I remember when our kids were teething, we'd kind of forget about the teething. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, the kid's bad. Kid's rotten. Like I actually have a bad kid now. Just, I don't know what to do. We're just going to have to raise a bad child. And then the tooth pops through. They're back to normal. And it's like, oh,
yeah,
it wasn't you. So anyway, I think the thing that I could have done better was my wife was away like the second night we were back. And it's when you expect things to go the way that they normally go. Like this has been the number one best sleeper we've had out of all three kids. Bedtime is like easy, barely even need to do 10-10-10.
Mm-hmm.
Kid just like lets us leave. I love you, Daddy. Have a good night. Make sure you leave the light on, like the bathroom light on. Okay. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it wasn't there really threw me for a loop. And that first night that I was alone, I did like a 55-minute bedtime, where a normal bedtime, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then she wouldn't let me leave, pulled out all the stops. I miss you. I love you. Please don't go. Why can't I please sleep with you? Tugging at the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying. I'm like, I'm saying so calm. And it just went on for like an hour because I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for I didn't have any strategies because it was just like going so differently than it always went.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to be chill and nice. And then eventually I obviously just kind of not obviously, but I you've got to let me go. What is going on? What is going on? And then she starts crying.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now I have a crying child and now she's way overtired. Now it's like 8:30. Yeah. It's approaching 9:00, 8:45 for a 4-year-old. We're so fucked right now. I eventually just had to have the 9-year-old who was waiting for bedtime, he's just reading, go crawl in with her while I went and put the 7-year-old to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, dude, can you do me a solid? Just lay next to her and rub her head for 20 seconds. She's going to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about me and the fear of me leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said some shitty things. I was like, what? Why are you crying? I'm here. I haven't left. It was the thought of me leaving.
Well, you've heard that thing that bedtime struggles are separation anxiety struggles.
Yeah.
Which is when they're tired and when it's dark, all that stuff is kind of magnified. Yeah.
So then we didn't really rectify or change course for that whole week. My wife and I were very frustrated with putting the 4-year-old to bed. And then we just had a little meeting. We're like, what are we going to do? This is fucked. And the game plan just was, we just got to start over. We got to start bedtime way earlier and do a longer bedtime starting at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have one thing where we leave and it's like the old times. If we start the bedtime too late, because she normally goes to bed in 12 minutes, and then that goes longer, then she's overtired and we're pissed and it's just a bad situation.
Yeah.
So we just said, you know what? Maybe for a couple nights we will have to do an hour-long bedtime, but let's start it at fucking 6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
We did that. She let us go. She fell asleep. So bedtime went back to normal after a week. But then she still crawled in every night.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way I got her the last couple of days, I said, look, if you have the rule in our house is if you have a nightmare, you're allowed to crawl into bed with us and we will sleep with you and deal with you snarfing in our ear and kicking us. But if you don't have one, then we're just kind of getting a bit of what we would consider a sleep regression in our house. So it's like, I told her a couple nights ago, I'm like, listen, if you have a nightmare, you are allowed to come in. But if you just wake up at 5:30, go pee and get back in bed. Like, we just kind of kept repeating. She crawled in a few more nights after that, but then eventually we got it back to normal.
This episode is brought to you by the Milkless Podcast. So, Maxie, we had a thing happen to us recently where we referenced the book Whole Brain Child on the podcast, which we've referenced many times before. And then we put a Media on Social clip about it.
Yeah, that works. That language plays. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm hip to it.
The Media on Social.
Yep, we did that. And then the woman that co-wrote the book said hello. And then we asked her if she wanted to be on the podcast. And she said, yeah, probably. But then, this is no knock on her. She's got a new book coming out. She's a real person. Her media people were like, how many people listen to your podcast? First question they ask. We were able to give them a pretty good answer. I mean, we're getting like 10,000 listens a month. It's enough to get like some real people to come on the program, which is exciting for us. Hopefully it's exciting for you. But the more people we have listening, the more guests of that caliber we're going to be able to get. Like the kind of people who are writing the books that are informing the way we think about parenting. We can actually fucking talk to them. So tell your friends, because if you tell your friends and they listen, next thing you know, we're going to be going after, I don't know, Justin Bieber, or I don't know, maybe somebody better than that.
I wish we could think of somebody better than that, but
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
Oh no, he shot someone.
No, but that was an accident.
Diddy.
So
we could get Diddy.
Jesus.
It's tough. It's like you articulated this thing where when something changes on you, we're almost always slow to change our routine in reaction to whatever has changed about the kid. Like for a while, my 2-year-old was hard to get to sleep. And then I found out actually, if I got her pretty close to sleep and then I just picked her up and rocked her and bounced a little bit, I could get her out in 2 minutes as opposed to like 20 of like lying in the bed with her kicking around and whatever. And I was like, okay, sick. I fucking solved it. And then suddenly she just really didn't want to go to sleep. So she would like, when I'd pick her up, she'd like position her head in a way where it would keep falling around. Just all the maddening things they do to like fucking stay awake. And then when she really got close to sleep, I was holding her, she'd start kicking and demand that I put her down. And my response to that was to get frustrated because I was like, we found something that works and now you're fighting it. Instead of being like, okay, this doesn't work anymore right now. Like it's time to adjust. Like I actually think going and getting your 9-year-old and being like, can you lie down with her and just scratch her head? At least my older sibling, when I really need help with my younger sibling, and when I go to her and say like, hey, for the family, I kind of need you to do this right now. I just like can't juggle all this. My older sibling is usually like feels important and empowered and responsible and fucking steps up. So I think that's a great solve. It just always takes you a second to get over the frustration of like, why does this thing not work anymore before you reach for that next thing?
Well, there's a couple things at play. It's like on the one hand, if it's worked this way, this screwdriver usually works. It's the same reason that every once in a while I will just like press the drill down until the screw threads.
Yeah.
When you're like bzzz, you put in like 20 screws, right? Works. And then you get one that must hit like a knot or like a piece of metal on the other side of the thing. And you just like, it strips once, but then you're just like.
Definition of insanity.
I'm just going to push harder. And then it's like,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
And you just completely strip the screw.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. I think because we are creatures of habit, once you get something figured out, like this is, I hang my hat on our 4-year-old.
Yeah.
She's such a good sleeper.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's almost like we're not good at that pattern recognition when something has gone that way for so long and then it changes. We want to just be like, something must be wrong.
Yeah.
It must just be the weather. Just try the same thing and strip the screw.
Yeah.
The other thing is there is this other thing that I'm always thinking about is you don't want to become a permissive parent. You don't want to lose the battle. If you, for example, say, oh, nope, no candy before dinner, and they just grab it and open it and they're about to put it in their mouth, they're testing you.
Yeah.
You have to hold that line because you just said no candy before dinner. If you don't say no candy before dinner and they put it in their mouth, it's so much easier for me to just be like, all right, don't do it again, dude. But if I say no candy before dinner, then you have to act on
the boundaries you set have to mean something. Yeah.
So that's what's so hard is like, if you don't have a game plan going in, I almost think it was inevitable that there was at least one night or maybe two nights, because we have to recognize that new pattern.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Either ET or us leaving for 3 days, we've messed something up. But it didn't take us 2, it took us like 6.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe the learning is like, I don't think anyone would want to, because the hope is you don't have to change your whole fucking routine and start from scratch with like doing bedtime and, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, you almost need a couple days of like, okay, but maybe we should like come up with a milkless mantra that's like 2 days of fucked, time to reevaluate.
Time to switch it up. Well, it's funny because you're balancing these two values, which are your boundaries need to matter, and the things that you set up, whether you think it's for the kids' good or because if it doesn't go this way, your sleep will be fucked and you'll be a worse parent. Like the boundaries you set up need to matter, right, to your kids. Mm-hmm. But, and God, I've been thinking about this in like politics, just life. Like it does not pay to be dogmatic.
Right.
When you become dogmatic about anything, you start ignoring your dogma will eventually bump up with reality in a way that's incompatible. But if you're sufficiently dogmatic, you will choose your dogma over what's right in front of your face.
Right.
Which is crazy.
But the thing right below dogma is ideals. You have to.
Yeah.
And that's what's
tricky.
We need to live between right at ideals, but realizing that it's not dogma, and that if you get it right or it's working 19 times out of 20 or whatever, then that one time is fine.
Yeah.
And then you stay in the bedroom for an hour and a half bedtime because of whatever. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is you need to recognize, hey, wait a minute, bedtime's taken an hour and a half the last 3 nights in a row.
Yeah. Instead
of getting frustrated, like, what the fuck? It's like, remove, come up with a new game plan and reengage. Because something's off.
Yeah. Well, and the other, there's a couple of tricky things about the particular bedtime scenario too. One of them is not that complicated. Oh, that's actually the line. You remember The Departed, where she's like,
I love The Departed,
where he's seeing his therapist before they start sleeping together. Questionable. And she's like, why is your last client always the hardest one of the day? And he's like, because you're tired and you don't give a shit. It's not rocket science. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, when you are supposed to be off the clock, particularly if it's your kid that's been your easy kid, you know how sometimes you'll sit down at your TV after you get the kids to bed and for some reason like HBO has logged you out and you got to remember your login and like go get your computer.
Forgot password.
In that moment, I'm like, I hate everything and everyone. Because one additional thing has been, even though it's a small thing, one additional thing has been asked to me. Unforeseen. So that makes it hard. And then the other thing that makes it hard, look, she's 4. She's not trying to manipulate.
Right.
When she's like, she's tugging on the heartstrings, but she's not thinking like, what's going to work on daddy to make me, like, she's really thinking like, right. I don't want daddy to leave. I'm worried. I like him more when he's here. So the thing that's going to get you out of that situation is to make her feel as secure as possible.
Right.
So you have to balance like setting the boundary that you need with not being like, you're fucking killing me, kid. I got to get out of here.
Right. 100%. The thing is, she was fucking killing me because on that second night, here's what happened. I was like, dude, I'm alone. Mommy's gone. Can I just go for 15 seconds to go put the other kids to bed? Because the big kids don't need to be put to bed that much. I could literally just say, guys, weird night.
Get in bed.
I'm going to give you 10 circle scratches. That's all I got for you guys. But they were waiting for me with their lights on. She would not, I walk out of the thing, she's screaming. And I'm just like, and then what I should have done, she's like, can I just come with you? I should have just been like, yeah.
Yeah. Because
come with me, you fucking.
Yeah. Because I'll get dogmatic about that too, about like, we're in the bedroom, the lights are off. I'm not taking you back out of the house. We lose containment. You're going to find some shit to grab while I walk past it and then it's going to spill. But like, that's where it just doesn't pay to be rigid, you know?
You know what we should have is like, there should be almost like a get out of jail free card where it's like, okay, everything's blown up. Like, you know, like that's what Dr. Tina Payne Bryson had said was like, who cares about one time?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Emily Oster says about the candy for Halloween. Who cares if they eat 2
Yeah.
pounds of candy one day of the year?
No individual experience is that big a deal. Yeah. 100%.
Right. So what I should have done is just been like, oh shit. After 40 minutes, she's being wild. This is fucking crazy. Okay, she's going to get in a papoose on my back like a Peruvian Andean woman.
Yeah.
Ride with me. Let's ride. Let's go put the other boys to bed. And then I'll fucking sleep with you tonight. And then I'll meet with my partner when she gets home. And we're going to be like, yo, what the fuck? We got to fix this shit. And then we have the plan tomorrow. And
then you'll reestablish the boundary you need with her when she's actually capable of it. You know what I mean? It's like when she's in that place, she can't hack it. Well, dude, I'm glad you're coming out the other side of that shit. That sounds exhausting. But it gets at a cooler, bigger idea, which is like no individual thing is that big a deal if it happens one time. So it doesn't pay to say that this is how we do it,
right,
even when this way is clearly not working at all for anyone. Yeah.
Right.
Word.
100%.
All right, brother.
All right.
Killer.
What do you buy? Violet Archer.